Step into the paranormal with Ernie Atwell and David Seiler, brought to you by Paranormal Inc., right here on WLFE DB Radio.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 32 of Step Into the Paranormal.
He got it right.
Finally. 7.
Hope everyone is enjoying this rainy Sunday. I'm sure no matter where you're at, it's raining.
Yeah, it's raining.
It's pretty widespread.
Yeah. But
Before we start the episode, let's give a very, 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 very happy birthday wish to Miss Carly Hall. She turns I ain't going to say, but
old enough to know better, but too young to care.
She just messaged me and said next year, one more year, she'll be able to rent a car on her own. So if you know the law, then you know how old Carly turned today. She was on, her and Jack Hanna was on episode, about a month ago?
Yeah, about that 2 or 3 days.
Month and a half ago. We have a cool episode in store for you tonight.
Oh, yeah.
A friend of ours, give you a brief background, and Dave can chime in. Friend of ours started an all-female paranormal team out of West Virginia. And we have a lot of questions for her. And as soon as Dave stops scrolling...
Sorry, I'm not scrolling with. I'm saying hello to everybody, doing my technical thing.
Doing his technical
I'm paying attention. It costs a lot.
Without further ado, let's bring in our guest,
Miss Kimberly
DiPlacido.
Hey guys.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Did I get that pronunciation right?
You did. I'm impressed. Good job. Perfect.
I'm pretty good with the names with the D's and all in front. It seems like everybody I'm friends with has like a D-I or D-E or something in front of their name, except David Seiler.
He gets the easy one. It is a crazy last name. You did perfect.
What's happening on your end, Kim?
Oh man, not too much. I'm excited to be here and see you guys and see everybody. I've been waiting for this.
Yeah. How long ago did we arrange to have you on? It's been quite a while now, right?
Oh my goodness. I'm pretty sure it was close to like 2 months ago when we planned this.
Because our show's normal, like we're already into December already, for upcoming guests. We just announce them like 2 episodes at a time to get everybody,
Sure.
excited.
That's awesome.
Definitely.
So I'm going to ask you, I'm going to start right off. We're going to jump right into this, Kim. I'm going to ask you the burning question right out of the gate.
Okay.
I got to tape Dave's hands to the chair. Kim, I know you've been, I mean, Dave and I met you 3 years ago for the first time. And prior to that, you've been into the paranormal for a while. What occurred, or what inspired you, or what just triggered this passion that you have for the paranormal?
Sure. So really, ever since I was young, we would move around a lot. My dad was in the military, so we moved quite a bit when I was younger. And I had quite a few instances where the houses that we lived in were definitely haunted. And instead of being the child that was scared, I was always just so intrigued. I never ran from that. It just made me kind of curious. And as I got older, things kind of slowed down a little bit. And I ended up moving to Florida and getting my first house out in Tampa. And lo and behold, that is when I experienced what I call the haunting of hauntings. And it intrigued me to just dig deeper into this paranormal because I was so taken back by the events that happened to me. And it followed me for years, whatever this was. And I never understood why. So I think the curiosity just got the best of me. And I was like, wow, if I can survive something like this and tell my story to others, let them know they're not crazy either. This does really happen. And, come up with a group, and maybe we can go around and help other people that are experiencing things like this. Then this is what I want to do.
Now,
and there you have it.
let me ask you, did you had your first encounter when you moved to Florida?
Oh
Or
no. So, of all things, if you remember, we met at the Roundhouse at the Paracon, like you said, a few years ago. And during like my early childhood, I grew up in, I was born in Frederick, but I grew up in Martinsburg. And my dad used to take me down to the train station all the time, right there by the Roundhouse. We used to hit the train for the day, take a trip out to DC, all that good stuff. And every time we would go down there, because it became like a weekend event for us, it would be little things. I could sense things going on. And this is the funniest story because back then my dad didn't believe me until he saw it one day. But we would just be taking walks up and down the tracks. And I would feel as if someone was like throwing these rocks at me. And I would turn around and nobody would be there. And this happened several times when we went to the train station. And years later, when I went on a group ghost hunt here in Martinsburg, I was traveling with a team and they were telling stories. And they said that one of the most common things that happens is people report rocks being thrown at them when they're around the Roundhouse and it just brought back so many memories. Like I couldn't get over it. So it started there because I just knew, I'm like, who's doing this? And it would just be me and my dad, and we couldn't figure it out for the life of us. And one day he saw it. So I thought that was pretty neat, that other people had
that happened to be at that building outside the Roundhouse. That's where we were going to smoke, and rocks kept getting thrown from the thing across, and it would hit the wood.
See, that is I can't get over that. I mean, this is when I have a very good memory. I was 5 or 6 years old when this happened.
Wow.
And I gotta intervene.
Yeah, please.
Kim's story is intriguing and authentic, but I was the one throwing rocks at you when you were smoking. I'm joking.
A question from Carter. She goes, does your body feel different when you encounter the paranormal? Like, do you feel like it makes you different from the normal?
So this is something that I'm learning and studying as we speak because I'm glad she asked that question. When I was a little girl and it happened at the train station, it happened in the different homes that I was in that were haunted, I encounter certain smells. And it's not a distinct smell of any sort, but I can't even actually explain what it is or what I would compare it to. What I mean is actually it is more distinct. It's not like your typical. Some people say they might smell something that's burning or something that smells like rotten meat. It's not anything like that. But it is a smell that when someone's around that I get, and I do get the goosebumps. But for me, it's the smells are heightened, and I just know something's there. And apparently, it's a common thing.
If you were to return back to your childhood home, mm-hmm. or if you would say next weekend be in an event with Dave and I where we're leading an investigation. If you were to have an encounter back at home, or you would have an encounter next week with us and it was different spirits we were dealing with, would you get that same smell, or does each one have a different, is one like a cigar smell, or one like a perfume smell, or is it all the same smell?
So it has been consistent with all being the same smell, and it's definitely not like a cigar. It's not anything typical. Like, I guess the closest thing that I would compare it to, it's not exact, kind of almost like a gasoline-ish kind of smell.
Wow.
And I think that's a little strange. I haven't really heard that too often, but someone told me that there's actually a name for it, and I can't remember because I just learned of this. But when their sense of smell is heightened when spirits are around them, that's supposed to mean that that's like your strong point in how you're in tune with the spirit world. So that's how I know. That's how it is for me. It's strange.
I tell you what I've encountered, and I'm by no means a medium, or a lot of people tell me that I may be somewhat sensitive or whatever, but I don't see it. Okay.
Uh-huh.
I don't feel anything. It has to be proven to me, so to speak.
Sure.
I always have to rely on evidence. Now, I did notice over the past 2 years of investigating,
mm-hmm.
Right before something kicks up or we detected something is there, I'll get a smell of rubbing alcohol.
Wow.
It could be completely coincidental,
Sure.
but for some reason, I get that, like before a doctor give you a shot, he'd rub a little cotton ball of alcohol. It's not overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's just there. And once in a while I get that. And then that's how, like my senses are, brought to life. Like, hey, I think something's about to happen. But it could be completely coincidental, but I've just noticed that.
That's really interesting. Yeah, I feel like if we were on an investigation together, that would definitely happen for me, because it has. I mean, ever since I was young, like I said, and now it's shifted a little bit. I've noticed since I've gotten older, more towards dreams. Let's just say the night before an investigation, I will have a dream, and that dream, in a sense, will come to light because either it'll kind of play out in the investigation, or something at some point I'll be like, oh, that's what that dream meant. It's almost like they're kind of, oh, you're coming. We're going to give you a little hint that we're going to be there, and this is what you can expect. It'll be like the most vivid dream, and sometimes it'll make sense, sometimes it won't. But something always happens right before I investigate and whatnot. It's got.
Right, I have a trivia question for you guys.
Oh, hold it.
Uh-oh.
When I was a kid, I used to get these deja vus that would come true, and it would actually make me like dizzy.
Oh, yeah.
I did something different to break the chain.
Yeah. I remember you telling me.
So I haven't thought about that in a while until you actually said that.
I just did I just completed a chapter in my book regarding dreams and premonitions and visits and stuff like that. That's just a fun fact. If you add up, now take an average person, just your average person's lifespan. If you were to add up all their dreams from the time they were born till the time they die, how long do you think they have spent in their lifetime dreaming? Does that make sense?
Yep.
No, it does make sense.
How long do you think?
About a third of their life. Usually it's about a third of the life.
You think so? What do you say, Kim?
I'm going to say half their life.
6 years.
6 years. I thought it was going to be something crazy.
If you add up all your dreams, on the average person, it averages 6 years of their life was spent dreaming.
Wow.
That's
wild.
If you think about that, that's crazy, right?
That's
No,
insane.
it really is. Yeah, that sleep stuff and the dreams, that really intrigues me. So I can't wait to read your book, and especially that chapter.
I can't wait to get it done.
I bet.
Holy crap, man! I've been like, I am getting there. I got like 2 or 3 chapters left. I am getting there, but I'm trying to meet a deadline. But it's not something I can, But anyway, go, Tim.
It's funny because we were talking about these smells, and I mentioned how it was kind of like a gasoline smell, and that actually reminded me. So this house in Tampa, a million things happened, but one of, I think, kind of the worst things that happened, it was the middle of the night, and I actually had like all gas appliances, and I woke up from a dead sleep to like smelling the gas that you would smell when you started my oven. And sure enough, I went out to the kitchen and I had to turn my oven off because something had turned it on. So, yeah.
Wow.
I know.
It's when you get into the dream aspect of all, having to do with the paranormal, this is just my overall theory. I mean, the dream, you can talk about the dreams, it can branch off in a million directions.
Oh, sure.
But when you talk like about visitations or whatever, this is my perception of it.
Okay.
I think that spirit will visit you in your dreams. Okay. Not only because you're at your most relaxed and, your mind is open.
Sure.
But through personal experience, I feel that spirit will visit you while you're dreaming so that that's the least way that they'll frighten you. You understand what I'm saying? And I think they use that opportunity to get their message to you or to let you know that they're okay while you're asleep. That way it doesn't frighten you. You know what I mean?
That's actually a good point. I agree with that.
We have a question coming in from Beth. It says, I've had dreams since she was a child, just her mom did. They show her things and need to tell somebody. When mother passed, she came to me, and when her father passed, she had the same dream. She also saw her children before they were born. Does that mean she's sensitive or a link to something?
Wow, that is a good question. I personally think that it could be both. Speaking from experience, my mom, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but have you ever heard of being born with a veil over your face?
Yes.
Okay. So both my grandmother and my mother were born with veils over their face. And my mom is extremely sensitive, but she has more of the psychic abilities and she has a lot of the dreams and visits that you were referring to. So I think that could be either or. Maybe she does have a gift that she doesn't even realize, or like you said, Ernie, it's a way for them to come through to let you know that they're okay or send a message without scaring you. That was actually a really good point. What do you think?
I agree with everything you're saying. And like I said, I stand firm because of a personal experience about, being visited while you're asleep, because that way it's less alarming. Now, also, you can have visions. And I also wrote about this, and I spoke with one of my very, very dear friends who's a very, very popular medium to the celebrities, about this topic. And, it's regarding how someone can see a vision of someone and that person's not yet deceased.
Oh, wow.
Right. So, there's a section I wrote about where someone got a visit. They thought that the person was physically there and they were 8 hours away. So there's no possible way they could be there. So it's what's called a prophetic vision, where someone that's, getting ready to pass away or whatever the case may be, they're able to, whether it's from God or it's finding inner peace with the person that's about to pass, that person can be seen. So, I mean, if you think about it along those lines, like with the children, like the question with she saw her children before they were born, that just may be, this could go in so many directions. That could be God. That could be God's way of assuring her, hey, absolutely, everything's going to be okay. Here you go. Now, my personal belief, I feel that our soul, or our spirit, as you will, originates somewhere before we're earthbound. And I believe that we're protected by angels before we take our human form. So, it could simply be that, it could be a guardian angel saying, hey, this is your children. And it's like a pre-premonition, so to speak. But it can go off in so many different directions of what it could be. But regardless, it's all, in my opinion, it's all good. It's all peaceful. Yep. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I think very seldom is it a bad thing. Now I do know, and unfortunately I have had some experiences where it can be bad. But it's more if there's kind of like a more malevolent spirit attacking you. I do believe that they can attack you through your dreams, because that's also, like you said, your most vulnerable, relaxed state too. And sometimes, to get in your head like that, that's kind of the ultimate. But so I think there's that side too. There's a little bit of good, a little bit of evil, but most of it, I think, is good intentions and sometimes premonitions and everything, like you said. It's pretty wild to think about it all.
Right. I mean, and, I remember when, a family member, actually thought someone physically came to visit them and they weren't there. We went to the house. They were not there. And then, we find out, I guess it was a day, like 39 hours later, 39 hours after she had saw him, that he was actually killed.
Oh my goodness.
Like, wow. I mean, it just it boggles your mind.
That's
like, everyone, because everyone has different theories on everything.
Yes.
And, like I can use a perfect example. My friend Haley from Keystone State Paranormal. We all know and love Haley.
Yep, she's where.
Haley and I just have different views on everything.
Mm-hmm.
But when we start getting into I believe this part of it. I believe that part of it. And we keep breaking it down, breaking it down, breaking it down. We start it like the same nucleus, so to speak. So
It all comes together.
no matter what we think, what our differences are, what our faith beliefs are, you know, she's more scientific and natural. I look at it from more spiritually or religiously because that's what got me into this field. But, you know, when we chop away at the bit at the end of the conversation, we're left at the same point. Like, yeah, we both agree that one, that. So it all starts. It just, once you start branching out, it's just a matter of what your core belief is. You know what I mean? And, you know, working with someone like Dave, you're not going to get any more scientific or tech savvy than Dave Seiler. And I do believe, I believe in all the gadgets and gadgets and that to help us, you know, prove our evidence.
Sure.
But of course, my favorite is the old school techniques. Now, Dave's a religious man as well, but he looks at things more scientifically than I do, where my belief is no matter what we're seeing, no matter what we're experiencing, no matter what we're doing, somehow it ties back to God.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I'm actually a lay minister with the United Methodist Church.
Oh,
so
awesome.
I look at things because I'm a network engineer from the scientific mathematical standpoint with I need to prove my algorithms.
Right.
So it's zeros and ones. That's all I am.
Right.
So how do you prove that from the spiritual side? So I found a way to put the middle, which actually comes really together in our seminars because I actually show both sides of it. And when I actually say, here's how it works, people look at it and go, that makes sense.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, and you have to have that scientific side of things too to really dig deep, and I like that. That's why you guys make such a great team.
Well, thank you.
I mean, some things, you know, Dave and I are really, really big on, like everyone is, you know, we're big on debunking everything. We've actually had a case and wound up going back to the house 2 times, I think, because we weren't satisfied with what we come up with. So we tried so hard to recreate things, you know, before we legitimately called it paranormal. You know what I mean? And that's what makes this field and everyone in it so great. You know what I mean? And
we had the one over at Haldeman Mansion that we actually were with some radio guests, and it sounded like there are these thick plaster walls that don't move, and something literally hit the wall like a train, and you actually hear it in what we're doing. It's like boom, and everybody thought that I like hit the wall with my foot trying to make it look scary and spooky. We went on another visit, and I'm like literally hitting the wall with my fist and couldn't get it to go boom that loud.
Yeah, it's those walls
are solid plaster.
You could sit there and kick it all day. You're not, all you're going to do is hurt your foot. You know, you're not going to, it's not like the houses today that are built in a week.
Right.
Where, you know, I mean.
And the energy that released while we were there literally shook the entire house. And it was like on the wall right here next to us.
Oh, my goodness.
All the guests in this way, except Ernie, and I almost broke his nose. Everybody's heard that story already. But, whole nother story. But yeah, I mean, it literally, it just like that. And it's like, and everybody goes that way. But we recreate it because people were thinking I was trying to scare people.
No, you couldn't.
And there's no way to move that wall like that.
Only way you get that is, I don't even know how that happened. I don't know what it was.
I don't either.
Who knows if it was even paranormal, but.
Whatever it was scared the stuffings out of us.
You could pick a heavy object up and heave it over your head into this wall, and it wouldn't even
bounce off. Yeah.
It would bounce off, you know. So there's no possible way of kicking that wall. You know, it's
to reenact that. No, I hear you, and it's funny you bring that up because in my house in Tampa, sounds, things like that, and loud sounds. It was to the point one time where I was talking to my mom on the phone, and on my end where I was sitting downstairs in the living room. It sounded like something massive jumped on the roof of my house to the point where it actually shook the house. And you know, my initial reaction, I'm just terrified. Like, did something crash into my house? You know, what is this? But it was so loud that she was able to hear it on the other end of the phone. And then immediately after that, I heard what sounded like everything just crashing up in the guest bedroom. And I thought for sure, I didn't have much in there, but I had a big screen TV and some shelves and items. And I went upstairs like running, like what happened? What fell over? And I mean, there was nothing out of place.
Well, you know that
just blew me away.
You know, amongst the 3 different types of haunts, you have a residual haunt. Who's to say it's not a residual sound or a residual type vibration? Like when we had we were live, Kim. I don't know if you saw the episode. We were live
3 or 4 episodes ago. Yeah, it's up on our Facebook.
Yeah,
it was a few months ago. We were live with Josh Hurd from G Crew with Nick and Chad and Johnny, and we were live with Josh, and we were just starting.
Yep.
And there was what to me sounded like an explosion.
It sounded like somebody kicked my front door.
The next floor above us, and
that's terrifying.
I stayed live on the air with Josh,
and I was like, "Oh yeah," and went that way to go see what's going on.
And there was nothing. And from where, like, our studio here is in Dave's a section of Dave's basement, and we got a window right here, and we could see, the daylight, the dark, or whatever. And it was a beautiful sunny day, so it wasn't like a weather phenomenon.
Really sounded like somebody kicked my front door that loud, like somebody put their foot.
Relate.
Yeah.
Well, Josh
Josh heard it too,
because we talked to Josh. Well, of course, after the show, we stayed talking to him for a while, and then we actually spoke to Josh the next day, and
he actually had a camera running upstairs because I've been having phenomena.
I did have my camera running. That's right.
And we well, the interesting part is my cabinet doors have been opening and closing randomly, real weird.
Oh yeah, I saw that video.
He walked into my kitchen, checked it out, everything's closed. I had already come downstairs to get everything prepped for the show. He walked, hits record on the camera, turns right, and comes down my steps. Well, we checked back on the video. Apparently, by the time he turned and walked to hit record, all the cabinet doors open.
Oh my goodness! Something's messing with you big time. Yeah.
I turned my back on the kitchen, walked maybe 6 feet to my camera.
3 steps.
And between that 6 feet, the cabinet doors opened, and I didn't know it. I hit record, didn't look back, and come down the steps.
Yep.
So when we went back, everything was open.
And then you hear me on the video walking upstairs trying to, first of all, I thought literally somebody kicked in my door. I'm looking around, and my dog's cowering in the corner. I'm looking around, there's nothing. I walk into the kitchen, and you just hear me yell, "Ernie, cabinet doors are open again." I'm thinking, we got it on camera. We got it on camera. No. Nothing. That's why I put those cameras up a few days later.
They're smart like that, though. Yes. They don't like to be filmed, Let me ask you this, though. Do you ever feel like when you put the cameras up that the activity gets heavier? Or does this one like to hide from the cameras all the time?
This one actually, it seems like it's in the evening time, and it only seems like when I become emotional because I'm going through some personal things that are to actually end finally after a year and a half Thursday. And excuse me, inhale and swallow at the same time does not work. So every time I get real emotional, it kicks up.
Okay, well that makes sense too, because I feel like some things like to feed off of your energy and your emotions too. Absolutely. And when you're down and out, it's just like it seems like the most inopportune time, but they kind of mess with you.
They do.
And they can get aggravated sometimes.
My daughter Grace and her friend were in my kitchen day before yesterday, playing with my Red Pod, my K2, my Mel. And while I was in the kitchen, nothing's going on. I walk out of the kitchen because I was getting bored, went downstairs to do laundry. They also, REM pods started going nuts on them. They came downstairs screaming. I'm like, what? They're like, it's going off. It's getting red. And I'm like, all right, let's go look. Got up there. No. So I'm like, minutes, walk out. Starts going. I'm like, did I piss you off? Yeah, you don't like me?
I do. Yeah. And then to scare the little ones like that. Oh man, that's the worst.
We were Dave and I spent a lot of time together. Also, we're always on the phone with all stuff arranging things, whatever. But Dave and I were speaking yesterday, and it's kind of funny. Like I was telling him, since I bought my house, I bought my house in '99, and I bought it a few months before I ever went on my first real paranormal investigation. And like two or three times throughout the year, something will happen in my house. Okay. And it's nothing major. It's nothing malicious. It's just something to let me know that it's there. Now, I noticed since Dave's had like an uptick in activity at his house, we did like a impromptu investigation. We do kind of think we figured out what it is and what's going on. It kind of de-escalated things a little bit, but now the activity in my house is ramped up. Almost like
took you with them.
I was just getting ready to say, it's funny because someone commented about that, saying about things attached, and you think it attached to you. It's
almost like, man, I tell you, it's like every other day something is happening in my house that, I mean, logic. I mean, some things you could seem like you could explain away, but if you're there with me and know what's going on throughout the day, it scratching your head, like for example, I have like a toy museum in my basement, and I have a whole bunch of different antique and brand new and everything on display. Just it's looks like a toy store. Awesome. I have a section that is like paranormal stuff. I have a section that's antique Christmas stuff. Oh, just variety of things. Well, the other night I was downstairs and I was watching a movie, and I'm a real neat freak. Everything has to be perfect. So movie ends, I'm getting tired. I go upstairs, I go to bed. Well, when I came down the next evening, because I work night work, I noticed my wife had put two of the toys on the shelf where the TV is. And I'm like, why is she touching the toy? It don't make sense. So I didn't think too much about it. So I got a message the other night. One of my buddies was on TV on one of the shows. They were showing a rerun. So I put it on and we're watching. And my wife goes, oh, by the way, I set your two toys by the TV. When I went downstairs, one was in the middle of the floor and one was over on the side. But the funny thing is, where they were placed on the shelf originally, they were next to each other. So one is in the middle of the floor, one's on the other. And I'm like, how is that even? Nothing was disturbed when I went to bed. And my wife isn't the type that's gonna, try to like pull a hoax on me or not, because she knows
that's my job.
Right? She takes that serious.
How serious this is to me.
You're the one that can mess with them.
Yeah, I can't. I guess I'm gonna have to run a camera down there, maybe.
You should. That's interesting. Can I ask, like, what kind of toys were they? Were they dolls or?
No. It was. I have one separate shelf with nothing but Scooby-Doo toys.
Nice.
Everything I have is packaged, and two of my Scooby-Doo toys that's been on the shelf for years. Never been moved other than once a year. I clean everything and put it back. One was in the middle of the floor and one was off to the right. Now, Scooby-Doo, where are you? Now I tell you what, Kim, this is kind of odd. I mean, it's not that exciting, but it's just odd. Everyone knows, I guess about 2 weeks ago, my mother-in-law passed away.
Yes.
Now, when she would come to visit, she would sit in the chair in my living room, and my wife would always yell at her the next day, because what my mother-in-law would do, she would have Kleenex, and she would go like this and wipe her nose. And what she would do is she would sit on beside her leg, and she would forget they're there. So in moving around and stuff, they would go into beside the cushion.
Sure.
So my wife would find these Kleenex in the cushion of it, and she would call her mother and yell at her, like, what did I tell you? Stop putting Kleenex beside the cushion. So 2 or 3 days after she passed away, I was in the basement, I was doing something, and I came upstairs. Well, I wound up working on my book for about 3 hours. No one had been downstairs, including myself. I did not move from the spot I was sitting in other than to get a coffee. and I went back downstairs to start doing laundry.
Mm-hmm.
Right before I made my way down the steps, I noticed something in the middle of the bottom step. And I'm like, what the hell could that be? Because I haven't been down there.
Right.
As I went down the step, guess what it was?
A tissue.
A Kleenex.
Rolled
up. It was rolled up on the. Now, I mean, that's very simple to explain away. Ernie, it maybe it fell out of your pocket. Well, I didn't have a Kleenex in my pocket. But I mean, it's very
I see where you're going with that, though. Absolutely.
I mean, it's very easy to explain something like that away. Mm-hmm. But like I just said a few minutes ago, you got to know the situation of what's going on at the house. I didn't have no Kleenex on me. I hadn't used the Kleenex, and it was in the middle of and I have like dark carpet on the steps. So it's very obvious. It's not something I would have walked over.
Of course not. I think she just wanted to say hi. She was just stopping in to let you know she's there.
Isn't that kind of weird, though?
That's from Andrew.
It is weird. It is.
Where? Right here.
What's that?
That's from Andrew, a friend of his. That's personal. His toys.
No.
Like we are. Love you, Andrew. Man. I don't know if he's transporting it back and forth, but I had a friend of mine over a couple Sundays ago. She was doing her laundry. A couple of things just happened. Like we had a fire in the house. We had a leak in the house. Some things happened. I was a little stressed out that night.
Sure.
The next morning I came out to my living room. All four of my chairs were stacked on my table. And downstairs, because my office is literally right there where you can see it. But I have mattresses my kid uses for karate over here. There's like handfuls of sand all over them.
Is that I saw that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. Yeah. So I don't know where the sand came from, but it looks like somebody took handfuls of sand and threw it all over the place.
And you have no clue where the sand could be from. Now that is wild.
Well, Pasadena's full of sand, but not that much sand.
Right, not that much. Yeah, you would know. That's crazy. That almost sounds like poltergeist like type activity when they're moving and stacking. I mean, that's pretty wild.
Yeah,
I heard about something, and I want your take on it.
Sure.
I heard about this all-female team called Angels and Ghosts.
Yeah, really neat.
Oh yeah, great group of girls. Yeah.
So how many people are on the team?
So it's just 3 of us. And right now we're just keeping it kind of like you guys. We're all really great friends. 2 of my girls, Alyssa Vick, she happens to be my best friend, and Leah Smith. And we just decided that we were going to go around and start having fun with this, hopefully reaching out and helping people that have been through some things like we have. We're just going to take it and see where it goes. We've been having a good time. So it's definitely, now that I can actually put my focus and attention on it, I've been in school for so long. So, and this is my true love, my true passion. So I'm just putting everything I got into this, and I'm going to let it grow and see where it goes from here. We're having a good time. I'm actually getting ready to go down to Florida to see Alyssa, and we're going to be doing some fun things and little ghost hunting. She's actually the one with the dolls I was telling you about, Ernie. So I might have some dolls for you very soon to add to your collection. Yes. Some very haunted dolls. And I'm sure she'll be more than glad to get those off her hands.
We spoke about that on the phone, and
did.
that would be amazing. And
yes,
they would definitely be respected and treated properly. So if you need assistance,
if you look up 30-minute challenge or 30-minute paranormal challenge on YouTube,
I've never seen it.
You'll see a lot of interesting things that where they go into these abandoned houses, and most of them are in Florida.
Oh, I saw that. I saw that.
I would love it. There's so many haunted places in Florida, so I get that. Well, definitely.
They do whole communities, like literally housing communities that have been completely abandoned.
Oh, nice.
And they go into houses, and some of it is creepy AF. They have this one house that they're going in, and like you'll watch things suddenly start moving right in front. Doors will slam right in front of them.
I saw that.
Wow.
A lot of that's in Florida because of all the hurricanes that have hit. People just abandon the property.
I never thought about that. That's a good point. Wow. I'll have to check that out.
Apparently, one property, this woman decided to literally shoot her husband in, and then everybody just literally left out of the house, the rest of the family, and she got arrested. Mm-hmm. All his property's still in there. They were showing Rolex watches, and there was so much activity in there that after like 28 minutes, the guy had to get out.
Oh, wow. See, that's my place.
Have some fun.
I will be all about that. The creepier, the darker, like I like it. And I'm just kind of drawn to it because it's just so intriguing. But I'll have to, I'm looking for some good places to go while I'm down there. And I'm not sure if I should do this, but I was thinking the house that kind of tortured me when I lived down there, I was thinking of knocking on those people's door. I just want to know. I want to interview them so bad and just be like, have you had any activity? But I don't know if that would be, not everybody wants you to just show up to their doorstep, especially now, and then saying something like that. How do you really go about that?
Oh, yeah. You know what? Hi, I used to live here years ago. Just
do this, Kim. How old were you when you moved out of there?
So, oh my goodness. So it's been this was back I bought the house in 2006. Mm-hmm. And we're in 2020. I'm 37 now. So I was probably like in my late 20s when I bought that house. I wasn't even like 30 yet. So it's been a while. And, but they bought the house back in 2012, 2013. And I mean, it was a brand new house too. That was the oddest thing about it. Like when I bought the house, it had just been freshly built, by a big major Mercedes company. And the people that I had bought it from, they were kind of into just flipping houses really quick. So they never actually lived in the home. So it wasn't an old house. There was no one that actually lived in it prior to me. So I think the whole thing's kind of odd.
Well, what you should do, this is the way I would approach it.
Sure.
Just go to the house at a decent hour, not like we would if we were investigating at 3:00 in the morning.
Definitely
not. Knock on the door and just say, "Hey, look, my name's Kim. I was the first owner of this house. I haven't been here since I sold it. I was young, And don't bring up nothing paranormal.
Absolutely not.
And just, get a feel for how the conversation's going.
That's a good idea.
You never know. They might say, well, look, let me ask you, since you were the first owner, did you ever have anything?
Right.
They might ask you.
That's where I'm going with this. Absolutely. I'm hoping. Yeah, that would be awesome. I appreciate that. That's a good way to go about it. So I'm curious.
This one.
I'm sorry.
I'm reading it. Somebody had a question. Dave just blocked it out. Now I can't see.
No, it's right here. That big thing right there.
You gotta tell me where to look here, man. Yeah. My eyes are going.
You can point there. That's the comment. But
so when spirits contact, how we know what different haunt it is? Is there a way to tell? Yeah, I mean, you basically who we don't.
That was Carmen.
Oh, Carmen. Yeah, I mean, there's basically 3 different types of haunts. Your residual, your intelligent, and your poltergeist. Most of the times what we deal with as investigators, and you can vouch for this, Kim, we're going to deal with a lot of residual and a lot of intelligent. Right. Now, if you get direct responses to something, hey, can you move that ball? Or you're doing an EVP session, could you please tell me your name? Are you here? And you get a yes, or you hear the name Mary or whatever. That's an intelligent haunt because they're interacting with you. Where, with a residual haunt, it could have to do with the property, the land. It could have to do with an object, the material around you, basically the environment, and it's going to constantly replay itself. It doesn't know you're there. It may not know it's there. It's just an image stuck in time that you're just viewing over and over, like on a loop. You know what I mean? So I hope that answered your question.
I think those are my favorite. They're so sad though. The residual, that's one of my things. I like to try to help those spirits move on because I think that's so sad. Like you said, half of them don't even realize they've passed, that they're still there.
Tell everyone how we all met. You remember?
Yes, of course I remember. So I met you guys when you came here to Martinsburg at the Paracon at the Roundhouse.
Yes.
And I was going around, just checking out all the good exhibits and trying to win the giveaway set that you guys had of all that good equipment. I didn't get lucky as usual, but I tried. Yeah, that was a good day. I'm glad I met you guys.
That was a 2-day event.
Yeah.
It was Saturday, Sunday. Yep, that was a lot of fun. I met a lot of cool people there.
Like, only thing, man, they got me. Oh my goodness, was it hot?
It was hot in there because they have like no air conditioning, obviously. Yeah, it was miserably hot. You're not kidding about that.
That was in July, I think, like the end of July or something.
There was no air movement whatsoever.
It was hot, but it was fun, man. There was a lot of good people on that Paracon.
Good turnout. Yeah, absolutely. That was a fun day.
Yeah, Melody and Ray through.
Oh
that.
yes.
And they did an amazing job. That was so much fun, and
oh yeah,
it was just the whole crew was there. We had a good time.
That's where I got my Floret because Ray didn't want it anymore, and I'm like,
yes, I remember that. I remember that.
Oh my goodness.
That was back in like 2017, right?
It's hard to believe it was that long ago. And you remember the guy that was selling the handmade Ouija boards there?
Yes, I would know where.
Me neither. That's not my thing, but they were beautiful. I'll give them that. They were unlike nothing I've ever seen. Well, one of my teamies, Leah, she actually bought one, and it just recently, long story short, my mom actually went into the house and she was like, she didn't even know about it. She was like, there is some kind of portal here. It is not good. Told her to get rid of that thing, and all the activity stopped. And she got it from there. And, I would never play with one ever because I know how serious they are. That's just not something I want to play with. But I almost, just to display it like she did, was like, they're so pretty. I'm so glad I didn't because, yeah.
I once when I was a kid, and you know how you're doing this, and everybody's like, oh, scary. And
not taking it serious.
Giggling about it, and the thing was sliding off.
And that was enough.
We all literally ran out. We were in this place out in some woods. There was like a little shack that we all hung out in. It got there while we departed. Nope.
I don't blame you.
I've never really been scared of, like, I had one when I was a kid, and I remember me and my brother. My brother, he's got this mind, but my brother rigged a. Now we were young, so my brother rigged a magnet under the table into the little thing.
Oh my goodness, to mess with you.
Man, no, not me. With all his friends, and we scared the living hell out of these kids.
Terrible.
What are you going to do tomorrow in school? And my brother would be under the table with the magnet and spelling out "die." You know what I mean? And these kids were like,
that is so wrong.
me and my brother, man, when we were young, we used to, you gotta understand, man. I come from a very strict Roman Catholic family, and family and the priesthood and nunhood and everything, the whole 9 yards. And we view things as Catholics. We view things differently when it comes with spirits and possession and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Me and my brother, we used to rig because I moved home with my parents when I was a teenager, and my brother was, of course, and we used to rig stuff up in the house.
Oh my gosh.
And just scare the
going to hell on
we had my mother run out of the house because she thought something was going on.
Oh, that's terrible.
Because we were always into the whole spooky Halloween, and we had some from my mother, and me and my brother, man, we used to torture her.
Your poor mom. Poor mom.
But so what if you had like a I guess you could say bucket list, so to speak, of somewhere you would want to go to investigate? Where would it be?
Oh wow, that's a tough one.
The Samuel Miller Mansion next month with Paranormal Inc.
I'm going to be there. I'm going to do everything I can to be there. So we'll start there. That's on the top of the list.
Next video up on our YouTube channel before you go. There's one. Ernie's literally calling out make that one light up, and it'll turn on. Make that one light up, turn that on, and then you go stop, and it would stop.
Oh my goodness, I can't wait. I really do plan to be there. That is awesome. I definitely would love to. I definitely want to get out to Salem. I know there's a lot of good places out there. I mean, who doesn't want to visit that? And then this is a place I've been, but again, last time I was there was 2012. I actually want to go back and spend the night again at the Eastern State Penitentiary in Philly. Have you guys been there? Oh, it's amazing.
I haven't either.
Oh, well, that should be on the top of your all's list. I spent the night there, and it's incredible.
I was in Philly in July. I didn't even think about that.
Have you been to
Trans-Allegheny? I'm sorry?
Have you been to Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum?
No, I can't believe that I haven't been there yet. And I love the thought of going to an asylum. So that's definitely on my bucket list. And you can actually do overnights there this month.
It is the bomb. I'm telling you what. You've got to go down where they do the lobotomies at, and there's a half wall down there. You'll see it. There's no mistaking where it's at.
Uh-huh.
Put your equipment on there and start asking questions down there. I have a video up of a 18-minute conversation where I figured out the person who died was not a patient. They worked there, worked in accounting, and did payroll.
Oh my goodness, that's really detailed.
And at the very end, I actually said, well, I hope you go in peace, and my no light pops on, and I'm like,
You're expecting that.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that one.
I gotta get there.
Kim, if you had to pick an investigation that you did or were on or whatever that comes to mind, you have like a most memorable investigation that you've been on?
Yes, the Eastern State Penitentiary, without a doubt. That I had a blast, but it's one of the most, by far, active places I've ever been to, and I've been to a ton of places. And I'll tell you, ironically, it's even more active in the daytime. And they do like day tours there for like $12. Kids can go, the works. I had even more activity in the day, and I still remember the cell number and everything, but I was very attracted to a particular cell there. And this entity just kept showing up in all my pictures. I'll have to share it with you guys sometime. And it actually followed me home. But I was lucky in the sense where it was one of the nicer ones where I asked it to go, gave it the whole spiel. You're not welcome here. You need to return. That's where you need to be. And I was lucky to have it unattach itself from me, but it was pretty wild. I feel there was a reason that I was obviously drawn to that cell. It was a reason that it kept showing up in my pictures. And ever since then, I've just always wanted to go back because I thought how powerful that it followed me and just kind of reeled me in like that. And it just made me want to go back because I had so many amazing experiences there, day and night. It was great. It was great. Yes.
Awesome.
What about you guys? Do you have a memorable? I know you've been on tons, but what was your best one, would you say?
I don't know. I don't know, man. What do you think, Dave?
The one I liked the best was when I was at Trans-Allegheny, because that was when I was firstly really getting out there solidly investigating. And when I got really hard evidence of, because I put yes/no flashlights up.
That's incredible. Yeah.
A lot of people are like, well, I can debunk it this way, debunk it that way. But I separated them out, and I had a guy on the camera who didn't even know which way to point the camera to.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, he's like, I'm like, Nick and Elizabeth have actually seen the video and can't explain what's going on here. It's giving very definitive answers to my questions.
That's incredible.
And I ask for validation. I'm like, okay, you said this. Can you answer that again for me? And the correct light will come on.
Wow.
And it was just like 18-minute conversation, and I narrowed it down to what happened. And that one really, really I love.
I love everyone,
yeah.
But
I know what you mean.
I think the one that stands out in my mind the most was about 2 years ago. Laura, formerly from Haldeman, who now runs York Ghost Tours, contacted Dave and I about a business in our state. And the business happens to be literally 10 minutes from my house, from each of our houses.
Yeah.
So we brought along
And it was an auto dealership, just so
yeah,
you know.
it was an active auto dealership
Active.
that we
Wow.
saw every day.
Yeah.
And we actually brought Mike King and his son with us, Mike from Ghost of Shepherdstown.
Mhm.
We brought them with us because they like to investigate with us. And
We were joking on the way there that maybe somebody got sticker shock and died. We were really cutting up, thinking, okay,
This
there's
is
a bunch
easy
of
enough.
ladies back there, you know.
but I even, I told Mike, I said, Mike, I've lived in this area for quite some time now. And, I pass this building like twice a day going to and from karate. And,
Like, who knew?
right. So I told him, I said, look, you're getting ready to drive 2 hours and, we want you with us, but don't expect much.
Yeah.
So we get there, it was daylight, and we started, to run our cameras and all that stuff. And I mean, before we went lights out, before the sun was even
Before we
down,
get the cameras on the cables on the floor.
before we got anything plugged in, it was like the building came to life.
Yep.
We couldn't
Nice.
get up quick enough to start capturing the activity. And
Oh my goodness.
everything was coinciding. Like there was a section of the warehouse that Mike King was in. And I say, I'm going to go sit and watch the monitors for a while. I'm tired of investigating. I'm going to take a little break. So I'm watching monitors. And for example, I got my eye on Mike and I see a shadow approaching him. So I picked the walkie-talkie up like this to get ready to call Mike. As I pick it up, Mike calls me. And he said, hey, keep an eye on the camera where I'm at. I hear footsteps and hear somebody walking up behind me.
Oh,
And it was
wow.
exactly what I saw. And it was before I could even radio to him. But that's how the whole entire night
the
went.
knocks you got.
Oh man, you got to go back there.
He goes, can you make a noise or knock or something like that? Whatever you were saying. And he comes running down. Dave, did you hear that? I'm like, I heard something banging. You could hear it downstairs. He was upstairs.
Well, myself and Mike and Dreamer's son Desmond, we were in the back where they house all the parts and stuff, and it was those big tin shelves that you can see through the aisles. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
So, as Desmond and we're running a cable down one aisle. The very next aisle over was about the best I can describe it, and we both saw it. Like about a 5'3" to 5'4", really, really old gray hair balding man was walking parallel with us as we were going down.
Goodness.
We actually, Desmond and I both kind of like looked at each other, and we didn't tell each other what we saw. We told other people what we saw, and then confirmed it. But it was an old man, Kim. He looked like he was about 80, 85 years old. He was like a decrepit looking, hunched over, and he was just walking parallel with us.
The funny part is, I found out afterward, but I'd already talked to the people who work there. They showed me a picture of the guy who actually ran the automotive department.
I was going to ask you that.
He apparently died at his desk upstairs.
And did it look like him?
5'4", balding, older gentleman.
There you go.
I found that out.
Yeah, we didn't know that going in. We didn't really know too much about the place other than
that is great.
The employees were scared to death because they come in the morning and stuff's all
over the place. The shovel,
yeah.
I bet. He sounds completely harmless, though. He just never left.
We have about 30 seconds left. Is there?
We can go. We love her.
Oh, okay. I don't want the ending where everything just goes.
Anyway,
true.
So you're going to join. You're going to come to our event November 7th.
I plan to be there. I'm doing everything in my power. I'm sorry I'm missing the October one because I'll be in Florida, but I plan to be there in November for sure.
Yeah, we October 24th, which is 2 weeks, actually 13 days. We will be at the Reliance Bar and Grill in York, PA. We're going to have April with us.
That's going to be a good one.
April was on our last episode. That's good.
Like
the fun thing about that is Dave and I know absolutely nothing about the place. Nothing at all. And we've never been there. So
Nope,
the
not even once.
the people coming for the public investigation, not only is new to them, it's new to us. So
You guys, yeah.
whatever we come across, we'll come across together. And then, of course, on November 7th, we'll be returning to the Samuel Miller Mansion in Columbia, Pennsylvania. That place is amazing.
Well, you forgot one part. She needs to tell people how to find her.
No, I just didn't get to that yet.
Oh. You should go first.
Yes. How can people find
you and your team?
Angels and Ghosts.
So right now, I'm currently working. The website's like under construction, but we have a website for Angels and Ghosts. You can look us up on Facebook here in the next few days. It'll be all together. And otherwise, you can look me up personally, Kimberly DiPlacido, and my email and all that good stuff will be up for you guys to reach me.
Awesome.
Yes, definitely.
One thing that's been driving me crazy since Kim mentioned it.
That's me.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
no, I said since Kim mentioned it. No, you drive me freaking crazy. Like, oh, anyway. You brought up about have we ever heard of someone that is born with a veil over their face?
Oh, yes.
I remember, and I never thought of this until you just said that. I remember as a child, my mother telling me about someone who was born with a veil over their face.
That's wild.
I cannot remember for the life of me who it is, but it's somebody that we know. And now it's driving me absolutely crazy. So I have to find out who it is that I know.
Please do. That's wild.
Yes.
That's good stuff. Yeah, a lot of people they haven't heard of that. So I'm glad that you have. And
I actually have heard of that.
Yeah,
I
that's neat.
I remember it was a female that we know that was born like that. But I for the life of me, man, I cannot remember who my mother said it was. And it's someone close to us. It's not like a story she heard. It's literally someone we know. But I can't remember.
That's frustrating. Yeah. Apparently it runs on my mom's side too. So yeah, I remember my grandmother telling me all about it ever since I was younger. And I'm like, and she always had a gift. Lord knows my mom does. And it's just passed on down. So yeah. Good times. Wow. Awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. This was fun.
Anytime.
It was our pleasure.
Yeah, that hour went by way too fast.
It did not feel like an hour went by. So I can't wait to see you guys in November. And this is my favorite month. So I was just glad to be here in October, too.
I was day before Halloween, so now you know why I'm so cute.
Yes. Now we know. That is awesome, though. You can have a heck of a party. I love it.
He was born the day before Halloween. That's the part that's true.
Oh, we think you're cute. Okay. Oh.
Thank you, Kim, for spending an hour of your Sunday with us.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely, guys. Thanks for having me. It was a blast.
We look forward to having you back.
Definitely.
And get into some stuff in Florida, man. We would love to have
your videos, 30-minute challenge.
We would love to have you back on here.
Anytime.
Would love to have you back on here to talk about your Florida trip.
You got it. Let's make that happen. I'd love to.
We will see you next month in Columbia, Pennsylvania.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, keep in touch.
We'll see you.
I will. Bye, guys.
All right, thank you.
She is amazing.
Yeah, she's
awesome.
Fun.
Yeah.
Man, that Florida. I've seen that what you were talking about.
Check those out. If you guys are bored, look on YouTube, 30-minute paranormal challenge.
I watched one the other night. It was actually on one of the paranormal shows. You know what I mean?
Right.
And wanted to say, you know how, like Caught on Camera, one of those type shows. And the one segment that was on, I guess, for 15 minutes was about the guy that
does it. Yep,
he went into the house. And I mean, this place went crazy on him.
Yes.
And he made it barely, but they said he's never been back. Like, he ran out.
There's one show that I can't explain it today because there's this like really high vaulted ceiling and they're down in the bottom and they keep hearing these noises and there's a stairway that goes up over here, but the chandelier's hanging like out in the middle. All of a sudden it starts. He walks in, hears the noise, turns around and looks, and the chandelier is just swinging. Wow. So I'm like, those things are wild.
I do. I seen that. It's like, wow.
So, all right, guys, well, it's about that time. So, just want to say, love you guys, and
up real quick.
Yep.
2 weeks. Our next episode, we will have Bill and Chris Reap from Reap Investigations. 2 weeks after that, out of New Jersey, our good friend Anna. So Anna will be with us. Anna is a medium, a paranormal investigator. She also owns a candle shop.
Nice.
And she was posting today some of the stuff that she's selling, and it's pretty cool, man. She's got a I forget the exact name of the candle shop. Forgive me, Anna. But she does advertising on Instagram as well as Facebook, and it's really cool stuff.
Awesome.
She's always at the Gettysburg Bash with us.
Yes.
Looking forward to Gettysburg Bash 2021.
Yeah.
And a big happy anniversary to Pam and Steve Barry.
Yep.
Sorry we couldn't be there today for the
revals.
Yeah, the revals, but hope we saw the photos. Everyone was up there, and yeah, it looks like you guys had a lot of fun. And Pam and Steve, we love you guys so much.
Yep.
You're such an asset, not only to us personally, for being in our life and being such dear friends, but to the paranormal
community.
Yeah, we love you guys. We love all you guys, and hope you can come back in 2 weeks and
same bat time.
Do this
same
all
bat channel
again. Remember, we still have just a few tickets left for October 24th.
Yes, York Ghost
at the Reliance.
What is it? YorkGhostTours.com.
And
there's a few left. Grab them while you can.
November 7th at Samuel Miller Mansion.
And October 24th at the Reliance.
Yeah, so either go to YorkGhostTours.com, or if you want to come see us in Columbia and investigate with us and with Kim, you can go to Ghost Tours on Locust and get your tickets there.
There you go.
We love you guys. Thank you for staying with us, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
You've been listening to Step into the Paranormal with Ernie Atwell and David Seiler. Thank you for listening, and listen in next week for another topic and more great guests right here on WLFE DB Radio Network.